On that day, no one helped him in the subway, but those silent stares would rewrite his entire life. In Berlin, on a cold evening, everything had started out ordinary for Amir, a young software engineer heading home from work, though there was something he didn't know yet. Amir was quiet, introverted. He barely spoke at the office, prepared his notes ahead of meetings so his voice wouldn't shake, and even walked city streets without headphones so the noise of the world wouldn't drown out the prayers inside him. He carried the weight of loneliness on his shoulders. That day, it was already dark when he left the office. The winter-gray sky mixed with the dim streetlights made every face on the sidewalk look even more exhausted. But there was still something he didn't know. In his jacket pocket, he still had the voice message his mother had sent that morning. "My son, keep your heart pure. No matter what people say, seek refuge in your Lord." The fragility in her voice was the cry of a heart trying to defend its identity. As Amir left work, he remembered the team laughing earlier at the whiteboard. One of them had joked, "If you stay this quiet, Amir, we'll start thinking you're an AI." Everyone laughed, and Amir forced a polite smile. But there was something he didn't know. It was the kind of injustice that could happen to any of us, the kind where tiny jokes slowly grow into deep loneliness gnawing at you for years. What would you have done? That day, he chose to walk instead of taking the subway on purpose. Because years ago, no one had helped him on the subway, and ever since then, crowded train cars only reminded him of silent witnesses who looked away, the fear in that man's eyes. As he walked through a narrow side street, he heard laughter and muffled music. 3 young men stood outside a corner bar, beer bottles in their hands. The sidewalk was narrow, he had to pass them, but there was something he didn't know. He told himself, "I'll just keep my head down and walk. Nothing will happen." His only survival strategy for years: be invisible. Not too much, not too little. But then his phone rang. It was Lucas, one of his roommates. Amir glanced at the screen and rejected the call because he didn't want to speak German with an accent in front of strangers in a narrow street. When that phone rang, his life was about to change. Then one of the guys burst into loud laughter and threw out a word: "Terrorist." The others laughed. For a moment, Amir thought his ears were deceiving him, but there was something he didn't know. He quickened his steps, lowered his head even more. His heart pounded. Another yelled, "Hey, you, beard guy." The voice echoed not just in his ears, but in his chest. The fear in that man's eyes. The biggest of them stepped forward, as if to block his way, then backed off with a mocking grin. "Relax, we're not gonna explode." They burst into laughter, the Breton taken, while anger tangled with prayer in Amir's throat. But there was something he didn't know. And then everything changed. A slim woman stood in the half-dark doorway of a building nearby. Her hand slipped into her pocket. She slowly pulled out her phone. Amir didn't even notice her. Her curious gaze followed the scene as her finger tapped the record button. When that phone rang, his life was going to change. Her name was Clara, a freelance photographer living on that street. She had been on her way home with bread and milk when she stumbled upon the scene and instinctively started recording, but she didn't know yet. One of the guys stepped fully in front of Amir again, blocking him this time. He swung his beer bottle in the air. "Come on, say something." Amir parted his lips. "Please, just let me pass. I just want to go home." His accented German trembled. The fear in that man's eyes. "Listen to that accent," one said mockingly. "Where are you from? Syria? Afghanistan? Or straight from heaven, huh?" Another made an exaggerated explosion sound. "What would you have done?" It was the kind of injustice anyone could face. Walking down a street, doing nothing wrong, yet cornered because of your identity. Then came a knock at the door. Clara hesitated while recording. Should I intervene? Her heart urged her to help, while her mind whispered, "What if they turn on you too?" She carried the weight of loneliness on her shoulders. But the real shock was yet to come. One of the guys looked at his friends and grinned. Wait, I swear this is gonna blow up online. He pulled out his phone and started recording. While he hurled insults, he zoomed in on Amir's fear and helplessness. But there was something he didn't know. Seeing this, something pierced Clara's chest. They're filming for fun. I'm filming as evidence. Suddenly, her phone felt twice as heavy. Which video would tell the truth? Which would destroy him? The fear in that man's eyes? Inside Amir, two voices collided. One saying, "Stay quiet. Let it pass like always." The other shouting, "Enough. You're human. You have dignity." Then, unexpectedly, he said aloud, "What you're doing is racism. You know that, right?" But there was something he didn't know. The guy filming rushed closer. "What'd you say? Say it again. Look at the camera." He shoved the phone closer to Amir's face, trying to provoke him. "What would you have done?" Wait, don't miss this detail. Clara's camera captured everything from a wider angle: the drunk laughter, Amir's trembling voice, the narrow street, and the people passing in the distance, working hard not to turn their heads. We've all walked past moments like this. We've all looked away. But there was something he didn't know. Inside, Amir whispered, "Enough. I've stayed silent for years, and this silence is killing me." Out loud, he said, "Please don't touch me. I just want to leave." One of the guys shoved his shoulder. Amir lost his balance, stumbled on a crack in the pavement, and fell to his knees. The fear in that man's eyes. The filming phone angled downward, ready to frame him as the aggressor. But the real shock was... Clara stepped forward. The words escaped her mouth. "Hey, enough. I'm recording everything." The boys turned toward her. Silence briefly filled the street as if the world held its breath. Then came a knock at the door. One of them approached Clara. "What the hell are you recording?" he demanded. She tightened her grip on her phone. "I'll send it to the police if I have to." Her trembling voice betrayed her fear. The fear in that man's eyes. And then everything changed again. Two security guards appeared from a distance, likely from the nearby mall. Clara breathed with relief. The boys stiffened. "Let's go," one said. "Forget it, we'll post it anyway." They turned and walked off. The guards approached. The next morning, Amir tried to leave the incident behind. It's over, he told himself. But there was something he didn't know. At his desk, Jonas turned to him. "Hey, were you downtown last night?" Amir's heart nearly jumped out of his chest. "Yeah, why?" Jonas rotated his monitor toward him. "I think this is you." A vertical, shaky video played. Its title was full of slurs. The clip only showed Amir saying, "What you're doing is racism, you know that, right?" Then a harsh cut. A blurry frame made it look like Amir was raising his hand aggressively. When that phone rang, his life changed. But the real shock was, the description labeled Amir as an aggressive immigrant, a dangerous Muslim. Thousands of comments spewed hate. The video had gone viral in hours. What would you have done? And that was just the beginning. People wrote things like, "Deport him. Wouldn't be surprised if he bombed something next." The edited clip made him look like the attacker, but there was something he didn't know. People in the office whispered. Some pretended not to recognize him. His boss, Marcus, walked in with sharp steps. The fear in that man's eyes. "Amir, do you have a minute?" It wasn't a question. In his office, Marcus played the video silently. "This is you, right?" Amir watched, breath quickening. "Yes, but the video is cut. It's not the full story." But there was something he didn't know. Marcus sighed. "As a company, we don't want to be associated with this kind of footage. Our clients, our image, you understand, right?" The message beneath his words was clear. What would you have done? "I didn't do anything," Amir said, tears threatening. "They harassed me. I defended myself." You won't believe what happened next. Elena from legal entered with printouts, comments, tags, threats. "We need to talk about this," she said. "Those pages would change everything." After the scrimmer, she asked Amir to explain. He told the whole story, every insult, every shove, the fall, Clara, the guards. His hands trembled, the fear in that man's eyes. Elena listened. "Do you have anything to prove your version?" The air thickened. Only the edited video existed online. What would you have done? But there was something he didn't know. His phone buzzed. A strange number. He hesitated, then answered. A woman's voice. "Hi, were you the man those 3 guys harassed last night?" A French-accented German. Amir's mind flashed back to the doorway. "Yes. I'm Clara. I filmed everything. When I saw the edited video this morning, I was shocked. Do you have an email or WhatsApp? I can send you the full footage." The fear in that man's eyes. A universal injustice, caught between truth and manipulation. But the real shock was, Clara's recording showed everything. The insults, the shove, the fall, her intervention, the security guards, uncut, unaltered. Amir showed the full video to Elena and Marcus. Silence filled the office. This time, another reality was on the screen. "Elena, please send this to us. We can take legal action." But the real shock. Marcus swallowed hard. "Amir, I may have acted too quickly." But Amir, for once, wasn't going to shrink into silence. "No, Marcus, you've made assumptions about me before too. Do you realize that?" The fear in that man's eyes. It was one of those moments when invisible injustices finally become words. What would you have done? Soon Clara's video spread online. The manipulated truth. What really happened to this young engineer? They blamed him but watched the full story. But there was something he didn't know. You won't believe this. The accounts that posted the fake video doubled down. "This is edited. Don't believe everything you see." Every truth sparked a new lie. Every answer brought 2 new accusations. Meanwhile, in the office, Amir became the unwilling center of debate. Some defended him. Some said, "Let's keep personal issues out of work." The weight of loneliness pressed harder. But the real shock. Another video surfaced. Security camera footage from a shop nearby. It showed the boys following him, the first shove. The owner had seen Clara's post and uploaded his recording too. When they thought they'd buried the truth, now there were 3 angles. The manipulated clip, Clara's recording, and the security footage. A documentary of injustice. But there was something he didn't know. Under the videos, one comment stood out. "I was there that night. I kept walking. Didn't help. I'm ashamed. I'm sorry for leaving you alone." The fear in that man's eyes. Amir realized dozens had passed through that street, silent witnesses who were now confronting their own silence. Soon an investigation opened against the boys. Clara's and the shop's recordings became evidence. At the company, a diversity and anti-discrimination program was created. They asked if Amir wanted to anonymously share his experience. What would you have done? He thought long and hard. He didn't want his anger to burn only himself. Finally, he said, "If even one person chooses not to look away next time, it's worth it." The fragility in his voice was the cry of a heart defending its identity. On training day, the final slide read, "It was an injustice that could happen to any of us. What would you have done?" Everyone in the room had to look not just outward but inward. The fear in that man's eyes. In the end, Amir still walks the same streets, in the same city. But with one difference, he knows he isn't alone, not anymore. There is a Clara, a shop owner, a regretful witness, and the courage he found within himself. Everyone learned the truth, but the real shock,